Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me. When we first discussed about the conference and when we first got in touch, I didn't really know what kind of conference it is, who will be the audience, and now that I see the program, I can clearly say I'm the odd one out. I will not talk about any marketing tools today or anything super detailed with regard to marketing, but I wanted to give you a perspective I have on how to stay innovative, how to grow your business, how to really have a culture in your company, regardless of whether it's a corporate or whether it's a small agency or whatever it is, a startup, how to continuously grow your business. And I think this whole growth hacking topic is really something that is on my mind a lot, because a lot of people are talking about it, and many people, I feel like, talk about this without having any idea what they're actually talking about. So I figured, why not give you my perspective on this. Yes, so that's me. I co-founded a couple of companies, and funny enough, even if you look at these companies and you're like, oh, it's a startup company and it's innovation, and also my companies suffer from things that I'll be complaining about to you today. So this is not something that is we are perfect at. Especially have a small venture fund where we invest in companies called Cavalry Ventures, and some of our investors are large corporations that are looking for ways to sort of rejuvenate their innovation culture in their own business by, for example, investing through us in young startups. But we also always tell them, like, listen, that's fine, and we're grateful for doing this with us, but there's more you have to do. And so I also see this in other companies that we work with. So growth hacking, definition. This is straight up Wikipedia. I think the last sentence in this whole definition is the most important one, and it's really like growth, and we get to the whole hacking part. But growth is a mindset topic, and it's not a tool set. It's not we're using Trello to manage our growth projects. It's not Trello. It's a mindset. It's like how your company feels about innovation, about growing the business, and how everyone is responsible or feels responsible for growing the business. Yeah? And then the last one, I also copy-pasted from somewhere, but I forgot from where. But I think this fits really well. So growth or growth hacking is a mindset of data, creativity, and curiosity. And this is actually something that I can fully subscribe to. I'll tell you in a second why. So why are we talking about this? And I realize I have a little bit, it's a bit text heavy. Actually, I got some feedback from the organizers telling me I should put in more pictures, which I refused. So apologies. There will be some pictures, I promise, but there's just some things that I had to write down. So there's a few things that I hear a lot, and then I start thinking, like, okay, I have to talk to you and try to get you to understand what you actually should be doing instead of doing this, for example. So there's people, like, if you look at job ads, for example, I'll show you one in a second. People are looking for like data science and big data people. But often, if you look at these businesses and these businesses, they don't have any big data to like big data around with, And it's similar for other areas. It's like people talking customer journeys. I went to a conference the other day, and there's like crazy tools for customer journeys and attribution and everything. And then there's companies interested in those tools where I know for a fact they're doing this, what I wrote here. They literally go to the IT guy, get them to export a CSV of like first name, last name, email address, and then import the thing into MailChimp. And then these guys are looking like at the 100K plus tools, for their business, where I'm thinking there's a big fucking gap between where you are and where you should be to actually spend that amount of money on a tool like this. Yeah, so I think, and there's a lot of things that you can do that will help your company without spending that kind of money, or will enable you to spend that kind of money. Yeah? So job ads. I picked one. Apologies, I don't know your company. If you're here, you're a mattress company. So sorry about that. But you know, there's job ads like this, and it starts in the title, right? It says growth hacker followed by 38.5 hours a week. It's like, can I swear? Yeah. You're like, yeah. Who the fuck puts 38.5 hours after growth hacker? It's like. And there's a lot of things, and if you read it, you know, it says like creative freedom followed by support this C-level guy, help that C-level guy, and you know, and it's really, if you read it, it's like a straight up line management marketing position where you get your budget for your channel, you allocate your budget, you're expected to hit a certain CPA or CAC, and that's about it. Yeah, and they're looking for people with a marketing degree, which there's probably thousands or millions of students that study marketing, and they're brilliant, but generally speaking, if I look for a growth hacking person, this person shall not have a marketing degree. This person needs to have a degree with something related to math, statistics, computer science, anything that will help the person to think outside of the box instead of in the box that they've learned. So there's one from Conrad. And it's quite an interesting company if you don't know it. Like they sell like stuff for geeks to build your own like remote controls and whatnot. And somehow they survived. It seems like they're surviving the switch from like big catalogs to actually becoming an online player. And if you look at their job ads, it kind of gives you a sense why they seem to be surviving this. Yeah. So there's a lot of things in this. It's just a screenshot. I'll take it. There's way more. But you know, they talk about things that to me, if you're in a role like this, make sense. Skill sets that make sense. Whether you need to be an SEO, SEM expert, you know, is a different topic. But there is certain references to like it's beneficial to have experience with JavaScript. It really is, because if you're like, oh, you know, I'm setting up something, whatever, a landing page, and you might encounter some HTML, CSS, and maybe a little bit of JavaScript. If you then have to run to your front-end guy, this guy will tell you, listen, I have a roadmap, I have deadlines, so you'll wait for 2 days for the guy to help you for 10 minutes, which will sort of then take 2 days and 10 minutes to get your growth hack done. Yeah, so, and so it helps to have the skill set so you're able to do these things without bothering other people, so you can test things very quickly. And so I found this one really good. Yes, so essentially, for me, the key thing is always focus on the basics. Like, don't try to, you know, build a backwards landing spaceship if you cannot like, you know, automate your even simplest CRM tasks, for example. Yeah. And to me, the problem nowadays seems like a bit like growth seems a bit like the new IT department for me. Or anything, like I tried to make a fancy drop-down, didn't work, but like digital, data science, Photoshop skills, big data, all these things seems to me like the new IT department. And what do I mean by that? So the new IT department, I show you the old IT department. So this is what you get if you Google org chart and click on image search. It's probably fictional, I don't know. But you see on the very right, there's the IT division. Yeah? And clearly it's very important because it's on the very right, which actually happens quite often. I took high tours on purpose because I didn't want to insult anyone. But you see that quite often. And everyone else apparently is perfectly fine without IT. Because IT is there, and everything, like marketing, for example, apparently they're not into IT that much. Because it's very far away. So this is the IT department. Yeah? We do business, and then there's like IT. And to me, this whole growth thing often seems, and I made this up, this petroleum company did not have a growth hacker, I put this in. But to me, it seems like what many companies are doing is this. They're like, okay, we're stalling. You know, we have competitors doing better for whatever reason. And so we have to do something. So they put out a job ad, like our friends from the mattress company, looking for someone that will then come in and, you know, sort of rejuvenate the company, innovation is going to go great, and it will, it will be an endless or a great success. And in fact, there's many companies that are doing this. The terms are different. Sometimes there's like business development roles, or it's labeled as business development, but then you're stuck in a team that has, no power, needs to get their resources from somewhere, no one has time, and there's a lot of companies like this, and so this is the problem, and this will not work. For a fact, I can tell you this is not working, and even, as I said at the beginning, one of my companies that got really large over the past couple of years is dealing with these kind of problems. The setup of the company is different, but it's similar problems you encounter at a certain stage of the company. So what will happen? If you look at these job ads, and those companies are not stupid, so they have good interview processes, they know the university where they should recruit from, and so they hire a great person, and then let's say she joins the company, and she's super excited, and she gets in, but then suddenly, it gets sort of stuck in red tape. It's like, in order to talk to your CMO, you need to put in an appointment, which will be next week, and then your CMO tells you to talk to this other person, and then there's a committee, because you're doing something that is touching multiple areas of responsibilities. You need to involve everyone. People need to be on board. By the way, if more than 2 people need to be on board with something, you should probably not do it, or change the company. And often it's also mixed with unclear targets. Why? Because sometimes you just don't know what you want. You just know you're missing something, but it's not quite clear what you're missing. So the targets are unclear. Therefore, it's super hard for the person that you hire to actually fulfill those targets. Yeah? So what will happen is your employee, she'll become frustrated, and eventually she'll leave. And then, this is always a good point in time for people that are, their main motivation is to block innovation, to say, listen, look at this. We tried and it didn't work. And I think this is something that many companies go through, and it takes a lot of leadership and courage from the company to not do this, because this is the easy way. Yeah, this is like, we tried, didn't work, whatever, business as usual, until you're dead. Yeah? And I did comply with the request, so I found a picture, and I think it illustrates the problem quite well. Good. And today, actually, I read an article 2 days ago, and you who wrote this should be in the audience, because in your article you mentioned that you will be in the audience. I forgot your name, I'm very sorry, but apparently, this is an actual problem. Apparently, you went to a conference and talked to a person called Tobias, who works as a conversion optimization manager, and the whole thing ends with, apparently there is big fear of change, existing processes may not be touched, and so Tobias' end of the story is that Tobias might go looking for another job. And that's exactly what I put in the presentation, like, I don't know, 2-3 weeks ago. That's why and this is an actual problem, and you're burning very good potential employees that may change the future of your company if you don't take this seriously. So I found this very timely article. Good. And the thing is also, this is really a mindset topic. A good friend of mine is a head of digital at a large German heating manufacturer. They make heating systems for your home, for your apartment. And it's really, like, it took him literally 2 years to tell everyone that everyone in this company is in sales or in making sure the company grows. Because traditionally, a company like this would produce a heating system with all, like, bells and whistles and 17 buttons, as a good engineering culture does. And then we take this and shove it down people's throat because they have to buy it because it's amazing. But that's just not how the world works today. Yeah? So we need to understand that everyone involved in a company is actually part of selling, of growing the business. And it took him quite a long time, and the guy is like a sledgehammer. So I thought it would take him less time, but so this is a hard task, but it needs to be done. Yeah? So basics, a lot of complaining and what not to do and so on and so forth. I also want to offer a couple of ideas with regard to solutions. Yeah? In my experience with my own companies and also my failed companies that I obviously did not list on the second slide, growth, like sustained growth of a company is enabled by three things. So one is listening to the customer, yeah, being customer-centric. Second, and I think everyone today is going to talk about data in one way or another, access to relevant data. And then empowering people. First, customer-centric. There was a study by eConsultancy about how to establish a digital culture in your company. And I found first of all, customer centricity scored top, and I think listening to your customer is absolute key to making sure your company is anywhere or is in a space where it can grow and where you can actually also use those techniques related to growth hacking. Interesting is that all the innovative, collaborative, agile is sort of scoring the same because it's all the same thing anyway, and no one knows what it means anyway. I mean, innovation. It's like, okay. So what is customer-centric? I can tell you what is not customer-centric. This is our ECOMI certificate page. So we are apparently a 4.1 in ECOMI, and on the right-hand side is the illustration for Net Promoter Score. Often you talk to companies, they're like, we're super customer-centric. We have a Net Promoter Score. Fuck Net Promoter Score. I mean, it's great, but you cannot do anything with it. It's like Net Promoter Score of 42. And now we party, or do we go back and work hard? Because is 42 good or is it not? Yeah. Same with things like ECOMI, where most companies even cheat themselves, or App Store ratings. You say hey, do you like our app? Or would you like to give us feedback? And so on, to make sure you only get good reviews and so on and so forth. It's nice techniques, but it's like a way to bullshit yourself into thinking you're listening to the customer. I can show you one example of my day at the office, which is I have an automated Salesforce report every morning that sends me cases from our customers, including the word Kündigung, Scheiße, schlecht. And it's called B2B bad cases, yeah? And I have this sent to me every morning at 8. And reading this every morning went from, at first I really didn't like it, and now it kind of gives me a good sort of baseline. I know what I can fix, one thing a day, and there's usually the thing I should fix is in one of those emails, yeah? So, but it hurts your ego because you look at the score and you're like, but we're amazing, and then you read this and you're like, we're not so amazing. But anyway, I think things like this are helping you to focus on a customer in a very cheap way. This is not a focus group. We don't have to fly anyone to Berlin and pay a lot of money. You can do this. It's very simple. Secondly, data, access to data. There's the same study, different question. How do we become this great organization? How can I send myself an email report like this every morning without having an intern typing it all up every day? Is by having access to this data. Yeah? So this functional silos that prevent you from having access, in my experience, is a big problem, because it takes a long time to pull the data. If it takes a long time to pull the data, you're less inclined to actually do it, because you're like, oh, it's tedious, I have to go talk to the guy from IT, and then he's going to tell me to write a ticket, I hate Jira, and so fuck it. Yeah? So in order to do this, we, we're a data, I blurred out a few things, as you can see, but we're super hardcore on data. We aggregate everything we have in a data warehouse, which sounds fancy, which is a simple Postgres database, cheap. And we give everyone access to our full data set. Yeah? So what you're looking at here is a very heavily redacted screenshot of Munich in our system. You can see how our utilization rate, meaning the deployment of our cleaners, we're a cleaning company, is the margin we're doing, lots of splits, and so on and so forth. So this is available for everyone in the organization, from customer service agent to me. Yeah? And I think it's super relevant because people can see, is it going well, is it not going well? Obviously not everyone looks at this every day, but the people that want to can. So the thing is, you have to get from this like your company structure in the old ages, where we had the IT on the very right side, to this, right? Where obviously you need IT to make sure your office license is paid for and things like this. But you need to have glue between all those functions, and in my mind, this glue is data. And if you have this, you enable, first of all, you enable people to start thinking, because they see like, okay, what's working, what's not working, but also your processes between those departments will be way easier. Like you can just have handovers, interfaces between those departments automated, and it will make your whole machinery way more efficient. Yeah? Also, you can use data as a management tool. We have an all-hands meeting every Friday where everyone is in the room, and we show to the whole team, in case they did not check every single dashboard what I showed before, we tell them like, are we on track? For example, in this case, I just took this straight out of the presentation, so it's proof that my presentations not only today look shitty, but also in general look shit. So this is like, in summer we were quite flat because everyone goes on vacation. If you're on vacation, you don't need to have your house cleaned. Yeah? But then vacation ended, so we grew. This month we're behind target, and we also showed everyone like what the main reasons are and so on. So we're very transparent when it comes to data, because it enables people to actually start thinking. Yeah? And it brings me to the third point: empower your team. Meaning, don't do this like petroleum thing where you have the person responsible for growth, like at the bottom in your org, and then get stuck in red tape. Enable feedback loops. It's also like give everyone that is working on interesting projects a stage to kind of show what they're working on, and invite other people to collaborate. Don't make sure it's not like a backroom thing where people. It's like, the guys back there, they're working on some crazy stuff that's not going to go anywhere. No, like put it in like center stage and get people involved. And also budgets. I mentioned it before briefly. Budget is also time when connected to a target, because the thing is, it's tough to actually do that spend time on those kind of things if you don't have time for it, if you're stuck if you're doing 10 hours of whatever you're doing in your regular job, but then also spend money on it, because if it doesn't hurt you a little bit, it will hurt you very much further down the road if you haven't made the investment. But like this, at least you feel like, okay, we're spending money on it, so it's important, so I have to pay attention to it. It's like a gym membership, so it needs to hurt a little bit in order to go there. Good. I give you one example of growth, and this is an old chart, so please don't go ahead and copy this. But this is something we did at Book a Tiger for lead generation of business customers, and then up to calling up those customers. And apologies if this is not semantically correct. This has been done by an intern. So who used to run a bar before joining us. So this has been built by the marketing team without engineering. And what it is, it's a collection of tools like AnyGrowth, like scrapers for LinkedIn, like CRM platforms, like Zapier to connect everything. So it's a machinery to collect leads, enrich leads, send emails to leads, and see if people are interested, right? And this is entirely built without an engineering person and without me. And I think this is a very good example. We changed it heavily because there were some compliance issues as well, or like borderline gray zone topics. But generally speaking, this is what powers 2/3 of our lead generation today, and it's built by some guys in marketing who just started working on it, and we let it run. And so this, I think, is a very good example of what can come out of having a culture like this. And lastly, there's a company, a logistics company. I took out all the logos, but this is something that amazes me to date. When I was still working for Delivery Hero 2013, they invited me for a talk, and we talked about innovation and a lot of topics around this. And then they went from this in the line where it says 3PL, the left one, the left icon was their company back then. And after we talked, they decided to challenge their own business with other companies they start themselves. So they started 2 online competitors to their own company. And they launched another company. It's sort of a marketplace where their companies compete against each other. And it just ignited like a crazy storm of innovation at the business. They're now in a European market, or in 2 European markets. They're the exclusive provider for Amazon Prime Now, because Amazon really liked sort of the digital culture in the company. And this company is founded in the 70s. Yeah, so the owner of the business said, okay, let's go for it. And they really went for it. And one of his employees sent me this chart. As I said, I took out the logos, but I think it's a very, very good example how you can, with the right energy and with the right mindset, you can actually change a business and really start innovating, for lack of a better word. Good, I'm done. Thank you very much.